Disclaimer: none of the characters in the video are mine. They are from an anime called Haikyuu. Also, this video is not an accurate portrayal of the Haikyuu characters. This is only for entertainment. None of this is meant to be a defamation of character. I apologize in advance if this video offends anyone. Warning: self-deprecating comments, full language. Onto the video.
Breaking up with Sakusa was hard, to say the least. When he was talking, he was on the edge of a breakdown. He honestly didn't know what kept him up and talking. Piled up stress maybe? He actually broke down as soon as he arrived in his room. After that though, he felt good, relieved, like a weight he hasn't noticed he's been carrying was suddenly lifted off his shoulders. He had no illusions that moving on would be easy, but he actually managed to break up with Sakusa. Surely the hardest part was done? He was wrong. He woke up the morning after their breakup feeling refreshed and ready to take on the world. He picked his phone up from the nightstand to send a good morning text to his boyfriend, only to realize that no, he doesn't have one anymore. Atsumu broke down crying. Omi's gone. I broke up with him. He's not my boyfriend anymore. No. I need to apologize. To take it back. I need Omi. Why did I even break up with him? Atsumu started hyperventilating. The relationship he'd worked so hard to keep going. The relationship he endured painful because he knew it was worth it. Gone. And he's the one who destroyed it. Atsumu's head snapped towards the noise. Kita-san. Atsumu remembered then why he broke up with Sakusa. He didn't destroy his relationship because there was nothing to destroy. He broke up with Sakusa because it wasn't worth it. The pain wasn't worth it if he was the only one fighting. That thought doesn't do anything to ease him though. Instead, it made him bawl even harder. The reality that Sakusa did not love him fully sank in. And it hurt. Atsumu cried on the floor, clinging to Kita as if he's the only one keeping him together as Kita silently offers him support. Atsumu sighed for the nth time that day. It's been a week since he broke up with Sakusa and it hasn't gotten any better. In fact, it only seems to get worse. Every day that passes by that he doesn't talk with Sakusa was spent dreading the future. This entire week has been filled with spontaneous tears. If he sees a broom, he starts crying. Washing dishes, he starts crying. Hears a sad melody, he starts crying. Stares into nothing and he still starts crying. He's been crying himself to sleep this entire week and he's honestly exhausted. Even when he's playing volleyball, he just starts crying for no reason. People would probably say that he's overacting or oversensitive or just over in general, but he can't help it. Do those bitches think he wants to spend almost his entire day crying? No, he doesn't. It's exhausting him to cry so much and he honestly just wants to turn off his emotions at this point. It's hard. It's painful, and no matter how much he tries to convince himself that this is for the best, that one day he'll move on, he's not convinced. He's been physically restraining himself from calling Sakusa and begging him to take him back. It doesn't really work, so he just called Kita over to be his impulse control. And yet he feels guilty that he's making Kita take care of him when he should be able to take care of himself, but he can't. He can't take care of himself. Not yet. And he doesn't know if he ever will when it comes to Sakusa. But at least until he gets used to it, he'll swallow down the guilt and keep asking Kita for help and guidance. He could ask Osamu for help, but his brother can't understand. Osamu hates Sakusa and is very vocal about how Atsumu did the right thing breaking up with Sakusa. And he loves his twin. He very much does, but that isn't what Atsumu needs right now. He wants someone who will listen to him, not just because they feel pity for him or to humor him, but because they understand. He could call Oikawa, but he's leaving soon and he needs time with Iwaizumi. Which brings him here now. In the park, Osamu said he needed to stop moping in his room and that going out and getting fresh air might help. Which is stupid. It's not like he can't open his room window to let fresh air in. But he didn't argue. He went out of the house and went in the park to mope. At least he's moping outside his house. And he's getting fresh air. Progress. Atsumu sighed. How did I live without Omi? Even when their relationship only lasted for months, he can't help but feel like he's been in that relationship for years. He can no longer remember the life he had without Sakusa, and that just made him even more depressed. Atsumu sighed again. He's counting the leaves of the tree he's sitting under, which is stupid BTW. He doesn't even remember which leaf he already counted. Also, He can't see much less count those in the middle, so really, it's a very pointless activity. Much like my life without Omi. He was so busy counting leaves. Actually at this point he was just staring at them that he didn't notice the footsteps going towards him. Atsu. Atsumu jumped 3 feet in the air. Oh look, Omi's here. Wow, what a vivid imagination. Anyway, did anyone see that? Atsumu looked around and saw that the people in the park, 3 kids and 4 adults, were all preoccupied. He sighed then gently sat down again. He examined the Sakusa in front of him. Yes, the Sakusa, because he's sure this is not actually Sakusa. There's no reason for him to be here, so this is obviously a very vivid imagination. It's really detailed though. Wow. Atsumu shamelessly ogled imagination Sakusa. It looked dashing in black and white stripes, long-sleeved shirt with the top 2 buttons undone and the sleeves rolled up to show his forearms. Hot. To be fair, Sakusa always looked hot. Atsumu mentally congratulated himself for the imagination well done. He's kind of pissed though. Why weren't his imaginations this clear when he was Jack? He's not wearing a mask. That observation just cemented the fact that this was indeed an imagination. Atsumu didn't let that information sink in. No need to be so blue when he can just appreciate the view in front of him. My boyfriend is so handsome. No, he's not your boyfriend anymore. Suddenly, the vivid image in front of him doesn't seem like a good thing anymore. Atsumu shivered. How is this fair? Why are you so hot? How do you expect me to move on when you look and sound like that? Talk to me please. No thank you, hallucination Sakusa. Atsumu's not crazy. Or maybe he is considering he's hallucinating and all. Fine. He does not want to look crazy. Fine. You don't have to talk, just please listen. It's not like Atsumu could do anything but listen. Pretty sure hallucination Sakusa won't just vanish if he walks away. Besides, he kind of wants to listen. Sakusa has a very sexy voice and Atsumu's certain he here to apologize and confess his love for Atsumu. How cruel would it be for even your imagination to not love you? Hallucination Sakusa bowed, hands at his side, chin tucked in his chest. Atsumu, I want to apologize. Ha. Called it. I'm sorry. I was an absolute piece of shit to you. Yes. Yes you were. I used my phobia as an excuse to treat you like shit and I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. I may have had reasons for why I treated you, but it doesn't make it any less wrong. You deserve more. Better than I could give you, and yet I deprived you of even the bare minimum. Atsumu swallowed, tears peeking at the corner of his eyes. He knew that this is all just an illusion, but that doesn't make it any better. In fact, it makes the situation worse because he knew that his mind is already so desperate that it conjured this image, knowing he'll never get it in reality. You were the only one adjusting in our relationship. I let you do all the work to make our relationship seem like a, well, relationship while I do nothing but make it worse. I was secure in our relationship because I knew you love, not loved because you still love me, right? Me, so I left you hanging every time. I knew you understood my needs and my limits, yet I never bothered to learn yours. I took advantage of your kindness and your patience. I took advantage of your love for me, and for that I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Atsumu. Atsumu looked away, subtly wiping his tears away. He doesn't really want to look insane by having a mental breakdown in the park. People are already looking at him weirdly. You deserve all the love in the world, and not only did I not give you what you deserve, I took all your love too. You deserve better and more, Atsumu, and yet you settled for less. There are so many people out there ready to give you the love you deserve, and yet you settled for me. And I was dumb enough to throw it all away. You're kind. You're patient. You're thoughtful. You're strong. And you're so fucking beautiful. Atsumu looked back at hallucination Sakusa to see him crouching down, so they were face to face, and Atsumu saw the love and worship in its eyes. Atsumu sobbed. He wanted so long to see proof of Sakusa loving him, and he doesn't know how to feel about seeing it now. Should he be happy that he at least had the chance to see it? Or sad because he knows it isn't real? God, you're so fucking beautiful. I love your smile that brightens up my day. I love how adorable and infectious your laugh is. I love how your voice can clear my anxiety. I love how your entire presence gives me strength and make me weak in the knees at the same time. I love you and everything about you, and I'm sorry for making you feel like you're not worthy of it when you deserve so much more. I love you so much, Atsu, and I'm sorry for making you feel like I never did. For failing you. Atsumu was full on crying now. Hiccups and sniffles present. The other people in the park long forgotten. His heart clenched and it feels so hard to breathe. He feels so full and yet so empty. Sad yet overwhelmingly happy. Tired yet energized. He feels everything and yet nothing at all. Atsumu keeps on wiping his unending tears to no avail. He sees Hallucinating Sakusa in a similar state except it just allows its tears to free fall, not bothering to wipe it at all. The tiny bit of hope inside Atsumu that this might be real died out suddenly. If this was real, Sakusa wouldn't look like this, wouldn't have kneeled on the dirt, would have had wiped his tears and snot. Who are you kidding? Real Sakusa wouldn't even bother to come here, much less say the things he did in the first place. I'm sorry for realizing how much you meant to me only after I lost you. There's nothing to realize because I mean nothing to you. Hallucination Sakusa kneeled down as he sat on his legs, then folded his body until his forehead was touching the dirt. Atsumu gasped. Sakusa was doing a dajiza. Alarm bells started ringing in Atsumu's head. This is too cruel. For everybody else it might have been fine, but Sakusa is germophobic and imagination or not. Having him kneel on the ground for forgiveness is just plain cruel. And Atsumu never wanted to cause Sakusa pain. Never wanted to punish him. All he ever wanted was to be loved in return. Kiyumi Sakusa, beg for your forgiveness. Atsumu panicked. Alexa, how do I stop hallucinating? As Atsumu panicked, he became hyper aware of his surroundings and the people watching him not only have a sudden breakdown but also running around like a headless chicken. Oh my god. Seriously. How do I stop hallucinating? Is there a WikiHow for this? Out of options. Atsumu pulled out his phone and looked it up. Medication? Therapy? Bitch, I'm broke. And I don't have shispranayajksijvn or whatever the fuck that is. Still panicking, Atsumu did the next best thing. He slapped himself. Hard. What the fuck? Hallucination Sakusa jumped at the noise and immediately clutched Atsumu's face. Atsumu eggs stopped working. Noticing that Atsumu wasn't responding, Sakusa jumped back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to touch you. He's here. He's really here. Oh my god. He's actually here. What the fuck? This is real? You're here, Atsumu said. The information hasn't fully synced in yet. Sakusa nodded. He wanted nothing more than to embrace Atsumu like there was no tomorrow, but Sakusa doesn't have the right to touch Atsumu. So he just stood there, alert in case Atsumu needed him for something. Even punching him. That's fine too. Wow, what? You're actually here. Atsumu's eyebrows furrowed. Wow, what are you doing here? Remembering what he was supposed to be doing, Sakusa got down to his knees and once again performed a dajiza. Alarmed, Atsumu tried to touch Sakusa but pulled back at the last second and just yelled at him. Omi, get up. The ground is dirty. Sakusa remained stubbornly down on the ground. I am asking for forgiveness, Atsumu. I won't get up until you give me an answer. I'm not forcing you to forgive me. I don't even expect you to because I wouldn't forgive me too, but if you forgive me now, I will spend the rest of our lives making sure you don't regret it. If you decided that you want nothing more to do with me, I will get up and walk away now and will never bother you again. Sakusa hated adding the not forgive you option because he doesn't really know what he would do if Atsumu doesn't forgive him. Probably bury himself in this exact ground. But he didn't want to force Atsumu to forgive him. If he's forgiven, then he will be very happy and will try his hardest to be deserving of that forgiveness. If he's not forgiven, then he will respect Atsumu's wishes and probably spend the rest of his life regretting his actions. Atsumu doesn't know what to say, to do, or what to even feel. Here it is. His chance to get back together with Sakusa, and he didn't even have to beg. But the pain is too fresh. It's still too painful. He's compromised. He doesn't have any way of knowing if Sakusa's saying the truth or not because he desperately wants it to be. And you can't always have what you want. He wants it to be true. Needs it to be true. But he's lying. He doesn't love you. He's just using you. He's just bored. He wants your love for him because you gave him everything, but he doesn't want you. He's probably not even talking to you. He's imagining someone else in your place. Kind, patient, thoughtful, strong, beautiful. Who is he kidding? You're none of those things and you both know that. His mouth was dry and he tried swallowing, but even that was hard. Sakusa. I'm sorry but I can't. Sakusa's breath hitched. I can't forgive you. I'm not yet ready. I'm sorry. Atsumu turned around and walked away. He said yet. Not yet. He didn't say he would never forgive me. Sakusa immediately stood up when he realized he's losing his chance to ever be happy again. Atsumu. Atsumu stopped when his name was called. He looked back and saw Sakusa standing there, a weird mixture of pain, guilt and hope etched in his face. I understand. Atsumu's heart clenched, his stomach twisting in knots. See, he doesn't really love you. He's giving up so easily. You know why? Because you're not worth it. Sakusa walked towards him. He brought out a beautiful bouquet of red roses with gold roses in the middle forming an A. Atsumu's breath hitched as his attention was diverted from the bouquet to Sakusa when he stopped an arm's length in front of Atsumu. I understand why you can't forgive me. I won't be able to forgive me too. But I'm not giving up. Atsumu looked up into Sakusa's eyes and saw the determination there. I love you Atsu and I know I said I'll leave you alone if you don't forgive me but I can't. I can't lose you. And I won't give up. Not until I earn your forgiveness or until the day you love another. Whichever comes first. Because you still love me. Right Atsu? Atsumu's lips quivered. If you don't, Atsu, then tell me now and I vow. Not promise, but vow to stay out of your life. Atsumu's legs threatened to collapse under him and he unconsciously took a step back, overwhelmed by the intensity in Sakusa's eyes. He wanted to lie. To tell Sakusa that he no longer loves him but Atsumu, for the life of him can't lie. Not about that. His eyes watered as Sakusa took a step forward, putting them closer together than before. His eyes watered. I can't lie to you Omi. I do love you. I do love you still. I love you so damn much. Sakusa smiled, relieved. He took a small step back but had to reach out his hand to circle Atsumu's waist as Atsumu stumbled, dizzy at the sudden change in the atmosphere. Atsumu slumped into Sakusa's hold, his body weak as tension flooded out of it. Sakusa tightened his hold on Atsumu as he pressed a small kiss on the top of Atsumu's head. That's good then. Sakusa breathed out a sigh of relief, his body sagging a bit as the weight in his chest was removed. The only thing keeping him standing was Atsumu. They are the ones only keeping each other standing. Atsumu straightened himself out as he felt something pressed in his hands. He looked down on the bouquet and gasped. It truly was beautiful. Sakusa tipped Atsumu's chin to look at him then cupped his face when their eyes connected. Despite his feelings, Atsumu pressed his cheek to Sakusa's palm as his eyelids fluttered close. He opened them to see Sakusa staring at him. Atsumu. Atsumu shivered again. Take this bouquet as the symbol of my devotion to you. I won't give up on trying to earn your forgiveness. I will be here for you as you have been there for me once and I will love you until the day all the golden roses wilt. Atsumu flinched back, pain evident in his eyes. Sakusa realized his mistake instantly and internally cursed. That's it? That fast? Atsumu bit his lip to stop himself from crying. Did you come here to give me hope just so you could shatter my heart all over again? Atsu, look at me. Atsumu shook his head taking a step back, ready to bolt. But before he could, Sakusa embraced him. Just listen to me for a minute Atsu please. No. Stop hurting me already. Atsumu thrashed in Sakusa's embrace but Sakusa just tightened his hold on Atsumu. Atsu please just listen please Atsu I'm begging you. Sakusa's voice broke, desperation coloring every word he spoke. That stopped Atsumu in his tracks but he still remained stiff. When he calmed down, Sakusa brought his hand up to Atsumu's cheek to wipe his tears but Atsumu pulled his head away. Sakusa took his hand back as he swallowed the lump in his throat. He slowly moved his hand to the bouquet and pulled the gold flower at the top of the A and held it out for Atsumu. Hesitantly, Atsumu took it. His eyes widened as he felt the cold hard texture of what was definitely not a flower. Omi, is this real gold? Yes. Atsumu's eyes snapped up to look into Sakusa's. What? I can't take this. Atsumu pushed the bouquet in Sakusa's direction and Sakusa clasped Atsumu's hands in between his. Atsumu, those golden roses represent my love for you. They represent my heart, my everything. And to you, I give my all. Compared to your love Atsu, they are nothing. Omi. Atsumu bit his lips as he looked at Sakusa with tears in his eyes. Sakusa cradled Atsumu's face as he used his thumb to wipe away the tears. Let me court you, Atsumu Miyao-san. You didn't tell him. Tell him what? Your reasons. Your past. I dunno. Just to make him understand you better. And for what? Invalidate all his suffering? I know Atsumu. He'll just blame himself for not being more understanding. For not knowing my past even though I didn't share it. He'll just feel guilty as if my shitty childhood and my traumas justify my treatment of him. My past might make everything more understandable, but it sure as hell doesn't make it any less wrong. Komori studied his cousin. Really studied him. Sakusa looked angry at even the thought of not taking Atsumu's pain seriously. Komori huffed out a breath. He kind of feels like a mother watching his child learn to walk. He also feels shame because he hadn't thought of it that way. All he thought about was how to make them get back together faster. Well, you could have at least given the bouquet earlier to have a more explosive entrance, you know. Like I said, I didn't want to make it feel like I'm buying his forgiveness. Then why give it at all? Because I wanted to. That's it. I thought about only giving him red roses, but it didn't feel right. After the shit I put him through, it didn't feel enough. You didn't think a bouquet of high quality red roses wasn't enough, so you included a 24-karat gold rose with a 1-carat diamond in the middle. Sakusa shrugged. It's just 1 carat. Just 1 carat. Do you have any idea how many people can't afford even half a carat of diamond? And you gave him one with the highest quality too. Honestly, when Sakusa said he'd give Atsumu a bouquet of roses, he thought it was sweet, but he didn't really think it was grand. How was Komori to know that Sakusa planned in actually giving Atsumu one made of pure gold and even putting a diamond in it? He knows Sakusa's family is rich. They own one of the leading companies in the fashion as well as art businesses after all. But he still thinks this is a bit much. Sakusa nonchalantly shrugged again. He's worth it. Komori kind of wanted to strangle him then steal all his money. He did neither and just sighed. So what are you going to do now? What I should have done from the start. Komori took a slight step away from Sakusa. That sounded a bit ominous. And what's that? Show Atsumu how much I love him. Later that day, Atsumu is in his room admiring the bouquet. He hesitantly plucked the actual gold rose and studied it. A shine caught his eyes. On top of the rose is a diamond. He doesn't know how he missed that, but somehow he did. Wow. It was small yet so beautiful, especially when it reflected the light. Suddenly, a thought entered Atsumu's head. If the gold is real, then, holy fucking shit, is this diamond real too?
Sorry for the long wait. Hope you enjoyed.